Here we go, folks. And we are back here on the I70 and Coach Clay Show. Coming at you here Friday evening on Patriots Soapbox, 24/7 live stream radio. Been a great week. Lots of interesting things going on out in the world, I70?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a good one. I think it's definitely getting to the climax of our adventure.
I hope so. It's harder every day to be patient while your president continues to take slander and other things without being able to just fight back with the truth as we know the plan has to come out in proper timing. But yeah. Katzel does. Oh, there says that Coach Clay. My chiropractor told me to watch you. Oh, is that a bad thing or a good thing? I'm thinking it's probably a bad thing because I70, I've got bad posture as well. So, yikes. All right, folks. How's everyone doing out there in live chat tonight on this Friday evening? Coach Clay and, the I70 Coach Clay show comes at you every Monday and Wednesday, and this is the every other Friday.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if any of you guys down in your area of the States have started to where is it here? Just pulling it up while I talk. Has started to see any of the smoke that's been coming down from northern Alberta here in Canada. But the last few days here, it's been increasingly worse and worse. I'm not sure if anybody has heard about that, but let me take a few minutes.
You guys legalize marijuana?
No, that's not what they're burning. It's part of the problem, obviously, is that we have forests up here, many forests that have a lot of old growth and not a lot of young growth, and that the medium growth has kind of dried out as well. And then, of course, we know that with all the geoengineering and stuff like that, they've really got a lot of metals on top of this foliage, too, to burn hot. But anyways, where was I going with that? I was going to share my screen and bringing it up here. If you can see that, I70? Yeah. Just a couple little quick shots to show you guys. This was part of the start of the fires on that one.
Do they know, was it a lightning strike or what?
Yeah, it was lightning strikes, climate change, right? So here's a little cool little graphic here for you, which shows where the fires started. There was over a series of, I guess, one large lightning storm, but a few different fires started here, which are the red dots here, and started to spread. I can start at the beginning here again. You'll see the actual time lapse. Of course, now this. Oh. Can you see that, I70?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you see the time lapse of it there going down. A lot of it over into Minneapolis area there. I'm right in this area of southern Alberta, right near the border as well. Yeah, really spaced it out all across America now. And the fires today are out of control still. There not any rain in sight, and of course it's very hard to fight and put out forest fires just with manpower.
Not good.
All right, and there was another one here, and this was my city here. Sorry, this was yesterday. And over the course of the day, this was this morning. Look at that, eh? So I know the air
Blocking out
quality.
the sun almost.
Here is city of Edmonton, Alberta, which is one of the ones that is closer to the fire. Maybe that's a bigger picture there. Yeah, very bad air quality though. Yeah. Yeah. So,
do you want to do roll call?
yeah, sure. Let's check it out up there. All right.
How do you want to do it?
What do you want to do today, I70? Mohave Green out there. Congrats on the Raptors. I know took game one of the finals here for basketball. Always got to cheer for the Canadian team. They rarely get in it.
Let's do it by state or country.
The team was back in '95 when the Toronto Blue Jays won the baseball World Series a couple of times. Yeah, all right. Sorry, I70, I interrupted you there, man.
That's all right. How about by state tonight? By
state or by province, by country? Yep. Let's do a little roll call, see where all these great Patriots are out in the world. I know we now have a rule that Trudeau wants to pass here, along with a lot of the UK is passing it as well, where the word patriot now is going to be go alongside with a white supremacist. So that's what they're going to try to spin this word of patriot to try to be a bad thing. I can't believe it. Let's see wherever all these around the world, where all the great patriots are, especially out here on the Patriots box.
Oklahoma, New Jersey Shore, New York,
Connecticut, Michigan, Massachusetts, Michael Kelly out there, clickering on, great country of Texas, no doubt. Texas is great. Nomi Bama, Mayberry, Detroit, Appalachian, Ohio here, very cool. California, Michigan again. We got a few Michigans out there, Patriots tonight. Bama.
Where's TN Homesteader from?
I'm not seeing many. There we go. I was going to say some international Patriots. Let's see where the international Patriots from. Oz Shell, welcome to the channel.
Arizona.
Great to have you here, man. All right.
South of Chicago.
Bill Bragg. All right. Welcome to the channel.
Russia.
Patriot from wherever you are. Alex Silent. Russia. All right. All right. We got Russians in here too, or maybe that was just a bot.
That might be one of us.
More Australians out there as well. Chris Peters, welcome. It's great to have you guys here. I'm not seeing any Canadian Patriots out here tonight. What the? We usually got a good, 10 to 15% of the live chats Canadians. Where are we? So it's just me tonight. I'm fighting on my own, I guess. Trudeau silenced the rest of the Canadian Patriots to be able to come on here tonight.
Pamela Anders is from Ohio.
Arlene, love you guys. We love you too, Arlene. It's great to be here with you. It's an honor to be along you Patriots out there. There it is, Mo Kur out there from New Brunswick, Canada, 07.
All right, now we can move on to Trump tweets.
Oh, there we go. MAGA offensive. I'm Canadian, identifying as an American. Yes, I think there's many Canadians that want to do that. Yeah, got some good Trump tweets tonight. There we go. We got a bunch of there. Oh, another international patriot out there. Durf, hi from England. Welcome. Yeah, now the Canadians are all speaking up. They were just lurking. There he goes, Chai17. I'm from BC, always lurking. All right, well, shout out, all right, to all you great patriots out there. And I hope everyone has been having a great week. It's going to be able to relax over the weekend, take some time off, maybe get some outdoor enjoyment, All right. Yeah. So let's jump over to and bring us up to date here with President Trump tweets for the day so far. Share my screen once more here. All right, you catch that?
Yep.
Let's see here. Where do we start? There it goes. This one right here, I think, is where we wanted to start here, which was came in at my time, Mountain Time, 5:38 a.m., 7:38 a.m. Eastern Time. Sean Davis, the Federalist, Mueller proved his entire operation was a political hit job. Still, zero evidence of Trump-Russia collusion and no new evidence from Mueller. At Tucker Carlson at Fox News. Yep. We got to keep putting this out here so people understand. The normies get it through their thick skulls. And trust me, we got a lot of thick skulls up here in Canada. A lot of unawake, Trump derangement syndrome, liberal loving. I could just keep going on. We need a lot of help up here, folks. Anyways, next one here. All right, 12 hours ago. Oh, I forgot. Did we skipped one there? Yes, here it is. Did we? Can we play this one, I70? I believe we can.
Protect and defend the United. When you choose.
Or shall we not?
Yeah, you can.
From the president thing or Air Force?
The Air Force, you choose the noble road of service and duty and devotion. You choose to break old boundaries and unlock new frontiers and live life on the cutting edge. You could have chosen any school, any career you wanted, but you chose a harder path and a higher calling to protect and defend the United States of America. Today you take your place as officers in the most powerful Air Force in the history of our country and very easily in the history of the world. You have risen to every challenge, overcome every single obstacle, and proven yourselves worthy of the bars that will soon adorn your uniform. America commends the integrity, devotion, and commitment of the class of 2019. Thank you and congratulations, everybody. Thank you.
Man, it's so cool to see military folk like that all dressed in regalia and their uniforms. It's really cool to see. And apparently he said during his speech there that he would shake the hand of everybody and they all cheered. And then afterwards, he basically stood there for an hour and a half straight, shook everybody's hand.
Yep, because they got their diploma.
Yeah. How many cool presidents have done that? Probably not many.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. There he goes.
I bet they dug it.
I bet you that was an awesome moment. I think you can see right here on the top of the page here is his banner. He switched to see a bunch of the young boys and women there. So I bet you if they each got one of those, what a cherished moment, eh, folks? Yeah, pretty neat. Pretty neat. All right, here it is, 12 hours ago. Next one here. Hard to believe that with the crisis on the border, the Dems won't do the quick and easy fix. Would solve the problem, but they want open borders, which equals crime. Yes, many different types of crime, that's for sure. Hey, one thing I thought should check here. Are those, those boys are still off Twitter, right? That's nice to see.
Krasenstein brats.
Hi, boys. You had your 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, they're hanging me out in suspension land with me.
Yeah. See you at McDonald's. All right, next one here. At 6:30 a.m. my time here, Mexico has taken advantage of the United States for decades. Because of the Dems, our immigration laws are bad. Mexico makes a fortune from the U.S., have for decades. They can easily fix this problem. Time for them to finally do what must be done. And yeah, I think the folks know what he started to imply here, and the next tweets will show. In order to not pay tariffs, if they start rising, companies will leave Mexico, which has taken 30% of our auto industry, and come back home to the USA. Mexico must take back their country from the drug lords and cartels. The tariff is about stopping drugs as well as illegals. Yeah, it's really spelling it out to the dumb folks out there, isn't he?
Yeah. 260 characters at a time. Or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know. 240? Is it 260?
I don't know what it is.
All right. And throw Chris out there. Time for popcorn. That's right. Get your stock up. Don't want to run to the store when there's no popcorn because it's all out. Yeah, do people do it on the stove still normally, or do they pop it in the microwave? It's always better on the stove top, isn't it?
I bought some Jiffy Pop the other day just for the heck of it.
Oh, yeah. Did you try it out yet?
Yes, I did. Wasn't as good as I remember.
Yeah. All right. 90% of drugs coming into the United States from through Mexico and our southern border. And, the other 10% is the fentanyl, I bet, that's coming through the Canadian border. Because our biggest problem is the fentanyl that's been brought in through the Asian markets through our Vancouver port. As Vancouver has a large population of Asian people, which I think has translated to some of this Asian crime coming over, and Canadian crime. And I'm not saying that at all either. Anyways, I'll go on here. President Trump says 80,000 people died last year, 1 million people ruined. This has gone on for many years and nothing has been done about it. We have a $100 billion trade deficit with Mexico. It's time.
Yeah, and that it's time is in, I believe, in a couple, or at least one Q post.
Okay.
It's time.
Yeah, I think today he dropped a few different. I think there was one here as well. Was a pretty good Q proof, if you ask me. He says here at 11:08 my time here, President Trump tweets, saddened to hear about the loss of John Pinto, a Navajo code talker in World War II over the Memorial Day weekend. The code talkers are true American heroes, and John never stopped serving his fellow citizens as a longtime New Mexico state senator. John, rest in peace. Oh, it's sad to hear a Patriot pass on like that. But yeah, I think that code talker, is definitely giving a thumbs up to all the Anons out there and saying that the code talkers are true American heroes. And that's true, whether they're from back in World War I, II, or whenever. Patriots around the world.
Double meaning.
Yes, sir. Yes. Right. Here we go here. 7 hours ago. This next one here. At Sean Hannity is having a deep state show tonight on Fox News at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, exposing the tremendous abuse of power that has never been uncovered. Tremendous guests, a must-see. Enjoy. Well, you see...
Now, somebody in live chat says it's probably stuff we already know. That's probably true, but you got to realize we're 2 years ahead of the general public.
Yeah, that's and that's also why the president, as you see, has to plug Sean Hannity's show right during our time slot, because otherwise Sean Hannity's his numbers are going to be dropping. Here we are on Patriots.
Right. I'm seeing. I think Sean may move to 10 to 11.
Sean Hannity might be leaving Fox to go to bigger, better things. Hint, hint. All right. Next one here. Here we go. All right. President Trump tweets out here at 12:12 my time p.m. as we celebrate LGBT Pride Month and recognize the outstanding contributions LGBT people have made to our great nation. Let us also stand in solidarity with the many LGBT people who live in dozens of countries worldwide that punish, imprison, or even execute individuals on the basis of their sexual orientation. My administration has launched a global campaign to decriminalize homosexuality and invite all nations to join us in this effort. Oh, that's right on. And what are they going to say now, right? How are they going to say that he's against the LGBT community? And I hear in my country, I have to add like 7 other letters after that LGBT if I'm going to actually say it properly.
Hey, I'm going to bring in Captain Liberty and Drunken Pinata.
Oh, are you? Well, that would be a great thing to do.
Are you ready for them?
Oh, always. It's great to hear great Patriots. Bring them on in.
All right. Captain is in, and Drunk Pinata is in. Hello, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
How are you?
Patriots. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. When I saw that Pinata was in the neighborhood, I thought I'd drop by and say hello to all of you.
You know, it's you know how hard it is already to swing and hit a pinata. Now you got a drunken pinata, you know, that's swerving and ducking. How are you going to hit it?
Well, once again, the drunken can apply either to the piñata or to the person with the stick.
That's true. That's true. That is true, sir. That's why we bring you on our show, Captain Liberty. You bring such basic, common knowledge, factual logic, insight to it. I love it. Like
I think the most
says, I like mayo on my LGBT.
You used a very accurate adjective when you said common.
No, it's not. It's not common. That's not what I said or I meant to say. You know what I meant there, sir. So Q University alum says a question here for us. Did we notice POTUS purposely left out the Q from the LGBTQ? Yes.
I didn't even notice.
But I did not know if you guys used the LGBTQ symbol down there in the States, if that was PC for you guys. Because up here in PC for me is like LGBTQ, and then there's like 4 or 5 other ones. I'd have to look it up. I don't want to insult them by saying the wrong ones. But yeah, so yeah, notice there's Chillax. Okay, also said it. Notice he left out the Q. Yes, definitely double meanings in a lot of President Trump's tweets today, I would say, folks. All right, a couple more tweets here to bring us up to snuff, and then let's get some chit-chatting going on in this roundtable. Looks like he's retweeting here. Great news at MAGA, and yeah, I'm not sure what these guys said, but it must have been some good stuff. Anyone else watch that out there? Oh, here it is, right? The headline tells enough right there. Former Obama admin official, election models show 2020 victory for Trump. Already, it's only May of 2019. They don't have a chance, folks. This next, here it is. Serena tells me, I think it's like LGBTQIA2. Very interesting.
I'm surprised they haven't added some Greek letters to that.
That's next. You just created the next one.
They're just like the summation from I equals 0 to infinity of X.
Oh man!
I think you may have missed a double entendre from Captain Liberty on that one.
No, I think I got it. That's it's pretty funny because I think the whole thing is just distraction. It's all distraction to bring to distract people from what's really going on. You know, along with a bunch of other things that we know over time have been distraction. I mean, professional sports is a distraction, right? But this whole making politically correct other pronouns, changing fisherman to fisher people. That type of garbage, it's just nonsense. It's completely Orwellian, if you ask me. And where is the end to it? I don't know. Anyway, silly. I was going to say, folks, don't you think this next, as we go over this last tweet, where it says here, the former Obama admin official says that Trump's going to win in 2020. Don't you guys think this might be one of the most interesting races, election races coming up, in the sense that knowing all that's going down or has gone down and will go down in the next little bit coming up to it, how are they going to debate against each other? How are the final candidate going to debate against President Trump? It's going to be hilarious. I think it's going to be so interesting.
I don't think Trump's going to go to the prison and pick up the phone and do the debates like they want him to. So hopefully all goes well.
Yeah, too much glare on the glass for TV, right?
Right.
I think that's why some of the Democrats were trying to get the voting age and the age to run for political office lowered, because they don't have anyone who's over 35 years old who's not going to be facing an indictment.
No, I agree. All right, the last tweet here came up 5 hours ago. I'll bring it up here a little bit larger. I will be announcing my second term presidential run with First Lady Melania, Vice President Mike Pence, and Second Lady Karen Pence on June 18th in Orlando, Florida, at the 20,000-seat Amway Center. Join us for this historic rally. Here's where you get your tickets, folks. It's probably already sold out. Get in the lineup.
That should put a damper on all those that were.
I was just about to say
talking about the rallies. Oh, look, there's no Trump Pence. It's only Trump 2020.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. I think that solidifies it that it's going to be Pence running with him again there, folks. Mm-hmm.
Answer one very logical question. What can they possibly run against him? You notice I didn't say who, I said what.
Well, who in terms of the roundtable?
It would.
Oh, I was going to say something, but
It would take Johnny Carson reincarnated.
I bit my tongue.
What if they pull the? What is your guys' thoughts in terms of who they have going right now? Who do you think is going to be the last one standing, or are they going to bring out someone out of the woodwork? Is Hillary going to run again? Are they going to push her? Are they going to push Bernie? Is it going to be one of these other flakes? Or is it going to be someone like a wild card that they come out of nowhere with this whole Michelle, Michael, whatever, and Oprah?
I'm going to say
out of the woodwork or out of the closet?
I'm going to say wild card in the form of an. I'm going to say wild card in the form of an entrepreneur.
Okay. Someone that's not even in the race at all yet.
Yeah, rich, kind of like an anti-Trump or the mirror image.
Mm-hmm. But is that a celebrity or is that
no, not necessarily a celebrity. Well, maybe kind of like a Mark Cuban. I'm not saying him, but kind of some along those lines. If there is one out there that wants to stick their neck out or that thinks it's worthwhile.
Munchkin Bloomberg already said no, right?
Right.
How can you go on the campaign trail if you're carrying too much baggage?
Well, Karen Kins out there says that Coach Clay, Michael Obama will step in. So there's some people out there that might think that's a good way to go in terms of you've got the LGBTQ vote, you've got the female vote, you've got the minority vote, and then you run with Oprah as your running mate, who's got the celebrity vote to push all that. It's a MSM dream, really, in that sort of team. That's the only one I can see to actually do anything, really. The rest of them are...
The only person I could see that could legitimately challenge him in that way would probably be that vein. Someone like that.
Sorry, you broke out.
Like someone like Oprah,
Right.
ended... hasn't that... best in the game. Most of the stuff she did was years ago, similar to Trump.
Mm-hmm. Although Trump has said that Oprah will not run. I think he knows.
I don't think there are. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think he knows, the stuff that's the connections that she's had, Weinstein, etc. Maybe the things that have gone on. But I could see them trying it.
I don't think they can run anyone out of Hollywood that isn't compromised already.
Right. Good point. Good point. Guardians of Intelligence out there in live chat says how do you say it? Buttigieg Rhodes Scholar, deep state sleeper. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about him. It's gonna be. That's what I mean. This is going to be so interesting to see how this kind of, ends up falling into place here over the next few odd months. I mean, it's going to be different than any other election that you guys have had down there, I think. I mean, even more different than the last one, where it was an unknown non-politician that was coming into the fray there. Right?
Yeah, they may just cry uncle once the curtain falls. Everybody's exposed to what they did. They might not even run nobody. It'd be somebody
That's why I think someone like Bernie Sanders at that point would be the one to go with, because he's probably, he's already in that.
Man, he's got to sell with his name on it.
Pardon me?
He's got to sell with his name on it.
Well, before we've never had a presidential election where a candidate ran unopposed, but we might be seeing that coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
In terms of your president?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know who along in the Republicans would run against him.
No one with any sense.
Already won in student exploratory, if I remember one of the ex-governors.
I see here, Serena has finally got the initialism down here for us. It's LGBTQQIAAP. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual, allied, pansexual. Wow. There you go. Questioning. That's me. I'm questioning. Oh, stuff. Yeah. I really just...
Coach, are you pan?
I have no idea what that even means. Miss Sari out there says Romney. Maybe. I think he's got some stuff going on in the deep state as well, though. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting.
It's who are they going to be able to run on the Republican side that will reflect the, let's say, backbone, to put it mildly, that was shown by POTUS 45 by Trump.
Nobody.
It has to be somebody with that level of gravitas, and there's nobody like that. Not in the political party, anyways.
No, there's not many people.
And those that do have the gravitas already like him too much not to run against him.
In the entire political scene, as far as candidates, period, who could run against him, every time I think about that, I'm reminded of the Gary Larson cartoon about the boneless chicken ranch.
I've not seen it.
You'd love it.
It sounds like I would. Yeah. So, very, very interesting. Yeah. When does I guess it's all kind of starting right away here if President Trump is about to announce a second term, June 18th, because after that he'll be starting to do some more rallies, you would guess. Right? Oh, that's what I was going to ask you, fellas. Okay, so let's say now they've decided who's going to run against President Trump. We know that's a joke. No one, it's going to be silly to watch that. Then they decide who is the Democrat candidate out of those 22 odd flakes that are there. Okay. Now my question to you is: are we going to see the proof of the popular vote being manipulated in 2016 prior to 2020?
I will say no.
What was the question, Clay? Sorry.
Will we find out and see the evidence or truth about the proof that President Trump also won the popular vote in the 2016, and therefore showing that there was voter fraud going on? Will this come out prior to 2020 election, and therefore we will see for the first time in the 2020 election a complete no voter fraud? It's all been handled. It's been taken control of. Patriots in control. No voter fraud, and we will finally see the electoral college and the popular vote won by President Trump, clear and free, like we should have the last one.
I don't think
your question is double-edged, because if you saw any of the Barr interview, he mentioned that there was already investigation going on into voter fraud, and that there were already moves afoot to be able to address voter fraud in the next election. What I think we will probably see is a really concerted implementation of the programs to help prevent voter fraud. But I doubt if we will see anything regarding the last election brought to light quite yet.
Do you have a thinking of why in your
It's not going to change anything. Won't matter.
Well, it shows again, for one, that that they can shut up about Hillary winning.
Oh, yeah, but if they're doing the investigation and can prove it, that's all they'll need. There's no reason to go back to the prior election. There's no changes to be made unless we're talking about somebody that was put into Congress illegitimately.
Right.
But the whole House goes through a full cycle all over again, and the senators that ran in 2018 or 2016 are not up. So only if somebody gets booted because they were fraudulent in being elected to Congress. But as far as
the senators are over 6 years or
6 years, right? 6-year cycles. So the ones that came in on 2016 are not up.
Right.
They're not up. So
till the next midterm.
Right, to the next midterm. Now, the one thing that we need to keep an eye out, in my opinion, is even if we take Barr at his word of the findings, we have to look to see legitimately how much time there is between now and the November 2020 to implement voter fraud protection. Meaning they can do something at the polling places, they could do something at the ballot counting places to have oversight and stuff like that. But to implement a voter ID type model, et cetera, that can legitimately check the individual voting, that's going to be a little tougher. In the time that's left.
I agree with you, but I don't think Barr would have brought it up unless the plan had been going on for a long time to make those changes and was already in place, even though we might not have seen with our own eyes the evidence of it being implemented quite yet.
Well, my point is from the perspective, and the one system that can be done at a national level that currently exists at the national level that can prove identity for voting is the passport system. There is 2 forms in the U.S. of passports you can get. You can get the book or you can get the card, which is effectively your passport information on a credit card size driver's license model type thing. That's fraud protected. It's used at the port of entries. And that would be the system that currently exists, but you'd have to implement that rather quickly to get that many people through the system in time to vote.
Yeah, I think that the post office will become a central hub to this whole thing. I just got a hunch that we may actually be voting there and whatnot type of thing.
There's a lot of places we already do that in courthouses. None of these school back rooms, stuff like that. I mean, where I vote, depending on, there's 2 places I can vote early, as at the courthouse, and once the early voting period closes, then I'd have to vote at my precinct voting place, which is it's a single room schoolhouse of the early days. Remember, I'm out in the country.
Oh, you have one of those too?
Oh, yeah.
And if anybody wants to do something, become a poll watcher.
Explain to the people what that would be, I70.
I'm sorry?
Explain to the people what that means in case they don't know.
Yeah, poll watcher, you would contact your local board of elections in your county and volunteer to be either a poll worker or a watcher. And they pretty much teach you what you need to know a day or two beforehand. And you basically watch the polls or help out. Watcher would just look for anything suspicious going on and report it. And the poll worker would just, take your ID, point towards the machine, that type of thing.
Very, very good advice. Relative to what Tennessee was saying, that is a good idea, utilizing the passport system. Now, from state to state, the requirements to get a driver license can vary. In the state of Tennessee, the requirement used to be, I don't know if it still is or not, but it used to be you had to present a valid birth certificate in order to be issued a Tennessee driver license. That may have changed, I'm not sure. But I do know that the requirements for getting that license to operate a motor vehicle can vary from state to state. Some states, voter registration only requires presenting a valid driver license. There are other states where voter registration may require more than one piece of valid identification in order to be able to register to vote, which of course is a blanket registration allowing you even to vote in state elections, as an example. Does anyone else have any more particular sauce on this? I'd be interested in knowing.
When I got my Tennessee driver's license, it wasn't for the first time from a perspective of your first-time driver within Tennessee. So all I had to do is my previous state's driver's license, and that allowed it. And of course, I think I used my passport as evidence of who I was, if I remember correctly.
Huh. Do you guys need license for horses in Tennessee?
No, only jackasses. Mules are okay, just jackasses.
There you go.
No,
that's funny.
No.
I actually had someone who had moved here from California ask me how much a dog license cost in Tennessee. And I said, well, that depends on whether or not your dog has passed the driving test.
Yeah, TN, did you see that question out there from Serena asking about
the Q
live chat? Yeah, asking about the Q post there and the picture with Barr up in the plane. That was pretty neat. Yep. What's your take on that?
And maybe biased because of what I was working on, but Q522 is what comes to mind. Hashtag fly, hashtag, which is effectively like mentioned this before. Fortunate Patriot is the one that got me to thinking that way.
522?
Yeah, 522.
522, okay.
Before you start, Tennessee, what was that was on the back door that was strapped up but leaning towards us? What was that?
I know that in that decode that Radix, or at least that chant post that Radix put, looked like the Moab platform that the Moab is put on that to dump. But it looked to me, to be honest, just like a foot ramp.
Tilted back? Gotcha.
Tilted back on the tail ramp.
Okay, I couldn't figure. I'd never seen one of those there before, so I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, it keep in mind that there were in rural area. It could be for dumping things out, airlift type stuff.
It's a cargo ramp. The Moab actually runs on roller tracks because it is big.
Yeah, the Moab is a huge device. It's it's about the size of the. I saw one time, not live in video.
Think bus.
Yeah, it's a big sucker.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, I've got that Q post up 522.
Yeah, it's only that because of the rest is obviously easy to read.
Mm-hmm.
I actually decoded that, by the way.
Oh, you did?
I think, yeah. I'm not doing it here tonight. No, you don't want to lose your audience.
That's interesting. All these ones are some of the most interesting Q posts for me. Knowing that they've basically given us, mission type, whatever they're called.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead and tell us what you found. I got a little sneak preview earlier today, but
you trolled me today.
I cheated, but I had customers, so I couldn't listen to the whole thing. So, give us a snapshot of the 1 through 12, please.
You have to take the whole drop in context. The fly I interpreted as release, because again, it goes back to Fortunate Patriot. Way back when there was fly routes fly, double hashtag type of thing. It was the concept of being caged, right? And in this particular case, noted there's no name, it's just fly. Well, if you look at the hashtags, double hashtag, it kind of looks like bars. That was the imagery that Fortunate Patriot saw when he saw it, not this Q drop, but another Q drop. And it kind of registered with me because yes, if you look at them as double hashtags, and if you say fly and you're in a cage, it's basically you're released. That the imagery to me, when I saw the video of Bar, he's sitting in a jump seat, effectively almost caged, strapped down on an open door. So I saw it as, and he's flying, no less. So I saw it as not him being liberated, but it's an aspect of being liberated. If you scroll up just a little bit, if you don't mind, at the bottom of that is Jeremiah 29:11. And Jeremiah 29:11, effectively, if you synthesize it down to what it says, is trust the Lord's plan. Trust the plan.
Right.
And this whole Q drop, it relates to FISA, D class.
Okay.
The decodes, essentially, the way I interpret it is the 4 stringers that are involved, the 2 under hot, and the 2 that are not in hot, which is the very first one and the one that says peepers right above Jeremiah. Those are indications on how to interpret the cipher sheet that tells them what to do when.
Okay. Makes sense.
It does?
Well, so far.
Without proof? I'm busting your chops. That's all. And that's what my decode was about earlier today that I70 was alluding to.
Is the pre-D meaning pre-D class?
It's pre-D class, yes, exactly. What I interpreted as is, and it lines up with my pre-interval, my D4 interval in the timeline. Oh, how do I explain this? Okay. Going back to Q drop 3232, which is 31 and 32, the 2 watches, marker 1, marker 2. When you decode those guys, it gives you an interval. You map the interval across the calendar, and you use interval 1, interval 2, interval 3. It gives you a range of dates, a window, attached, and if 1, 2, 3, A, B, C on to Z and 26.
Right.
The alphas and the numbers correlate to be able to translate when other Q drops come in and including tweets, to be able to use a cipher sheet that is involved, that is based on the original Q2903 decode of the countdown, and carrying that countdown on. And it gives you a series of dates. It gives you the Julian date, gives you the date from the start of the countdown, the Gregorian date, the day from the end of the countdown as in a number, not as in a calendar day. And then then you have to track the number, the day of darkness consecutively and the day of darkness cumulatively, to be able to break the cipher and to look at the code. And then the code and the markers are in the watches.
Tennessee?
Yeah.
Have you ever looked also at numerically also at the dates of the Hebrew calendar?
No, I started doing that with somebody else behind the scenes. There are some relationships to that as well, but I think in this particular case, the references to the Bible are code to be able to apply to that cipher. There are some overlap in the messaging. For example, Jeremiah, like I said, Jeremiah 29:11 is trust a plan. If you kind of look at the which he's using, look at the first stringer, which is the one that says D_C, right? The very first one.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, if you notice down within the kill boxes, there's the little caret after the 7.
Yeah.
You see that? And then if you go down to the last stringer, hot 7, you'll see a lowercase hot 7. Mm-hmm. You'll see a lowercase g and the caret again, right? This is my interpretation, and working with Spectre on prior items, and he's my partner in crime. We tag team a lot. Looking at prior items, the thing that stuck out is jot and tittle. And jot and tittle is in Matthew 5:18, a reference, and which is basically says, not one jot, not one tittle will be implemented. In essence, is speaking to the law. And Matthew 5:17 is the rule of law. The synthesis of those two verses is rule of law, and the other one is the application thereof.
I believe Barr used that expression in the interview.
Yes.
But unless I heard wrong, it almost sounded like he said tittle instead of tittle.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that particular one because I was listening to Pam and with the pausing and all and that, and I was working on something else at the time. But I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to it. But in that case, they're breaks, so they're items to be able to interpret. And the interesting part is that the tax and the COR is CORR is short for correlate. Or corresponding, but it's correlate is the typical. Right. And so in that particular one, it's correlate. You got to take all the stringers together in this particular Q drop. The Q drop just says to correlate. And I've been able to look at it, tag it to the cipher based on the countdown, and it lines up to significant events. Marker 1, marker 2, bar at the Senate, the Rosenstein last day, and including Mueller's resignation 2 days ago.
I have a dumb question. Has it occurred to anyone else other than my less than adequate brain sometimes that D5 could also be a reference to D class plus the 5 buckets?
It could be, and D5, interestingly enough, also shows up. I mean, that's the kind of the things that they're talking about declassification, right? The 5 buckets of material to declassify. It's interesting to note too that D5 is the D4 and then the 5, not from a POTUS perspective, but the 4th interval is in May. The D interval was May. And on the D interval is when Collins tweeted the 9 transcripts. And then right after after that tweet, we got the clusters of Q drops that had 2 significant items. We had the order on the 23rd, the order of the D class that's within the D period, and then we had there were a couple of other items that correlated, the fly may fly, and you had 2 movie poster images, one which was FISA-gate and one which was, if you want to bring those up, Coach Clay.
Yeah, which one was that?
Sorry? You have to go to the most current ones and backtrack. They're it's let me see. Normally I have them right in my head, but I got the ones I'm working on.
Yes.
Okay. And this is so scroll down to 45.
Yeah.
And notice that's FISA-gate, right?
Right.
Notice the people that are there.
Yes.
Okay. Now scroll up to the other one and click on the image, and that should open it up to it's all by itself. There you go. All right. And this is, I mentioned this before. Look at the posters left to right.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter if it's left to right or right to left, but just for grin's sake, so it's left to right. What do you see common across the posters? And I'm not saying, and this is all about imaging. It's not but what's common to the posters, through the posters, not to each poster.
The coming soon underneath.
Yeah, those are the right. Okay.
Common.
Okay. Poster 1 on L1, left to right. L1, POTUS. L4, POTUS. L5, POTUS.
Correct.
L2 and L3, what's common between those two? Loretta Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
Hillary Clinton's in both, but Hillary Clinton on tarmac, she wasn't involved, and her picture's black and white.
Right.
In the FISA-gate, Hillary Clinton's in there's in color, she is involved. And in the tarmac, it was Bill Clinton. But
right.
In the tarmac and in FISA-gate, Loretta Lynch is in both.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do we have what happened when Collins dropped those transcripts? What was the first transcript that everybody jumped to and went to Comey lie? One of those two is lying, Comey or Loretta Lynch.
Right.
That's why that was the pre-D. The D-class order came in on the 23rd, not the D-class itself, the release of the declassified material.
Right.
But that's why it could certainly be those 5 buckets, Captain. I'm not disputing that whatsoever. And you know what? I just got to do something.
There's also a metaphorical reference to D5. D5 is also a very famous and popular model of Caterpillar bulldozer, frequently used in demolition and construction.
It's the biggest one you get.
That one I was not aware of.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it goes up to D9s as well in the dozer. Yeah.
The other thing that struck me was D-class, the word D-class, which Q uses, and even on a non-used D-class with double S's, which is D-class classifications, 2 S's.
Right.
There sorry, E, Edward, Charlie, Larry, Alpha, Sam, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D5. So it could very well be the buckets, Captain.
Mm-hmm. Is there any significance with the lady, do you think, holding her hand up over Loretta Lynch's mouth?
Yeah, that's that was also the one good catch. It also caught my eye that she is holding it over her face and her thumbs over her mouth. It's actually obviously photoshopped over her mouth, meaning, because if you actually zoom into that, you can see the pixelation around the woman's hand. But that's to be expected. This is a Photoshop job, not a. So the other thing that caught my eye, which in this image was used before in a previous Q drop, I think 2781 is what they used it in. If you notice the poster on the floor,
mm-hmm. The interview,
the word you can see is interview. What's the result of an interview?
Well, it depends what it's about, but yeah.
There's always a result of an interview. The transcripts of the interview.
Right.
FISA gates the result of this.
Yeah, that movie was about North Korea and all that, but it was supposed to be a reporter going in and interviewing Kim Jong-un. But the point is that an interview is a polite way of it, as well as saying interrogation or a testimony, and the results of a testimony are the transcripts. What did Collins drop? The transcripts.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Very interesting. Enjoy the show.
Yep.
Maybe
Great
Loretta
stuff.
Lynch will be first.
I think Loretta Lynch cut a deal, but Q said no deals. I don't know. He said no deals, but to whom was he referring to, right? I don't know, because there was an announcement she was going back to New York. She got a job with a law firm in New York, which is her home base because she came from Southern District. So I don't think so. I'm still thinking Comey. And the latest Q drops that we got, where he's not too about the news, but it says, and Anon asks him, "What about the Comey report?" And he says, "Coming soon," with the C in brackets. He has feigned, he's faked us before with the C comes before D, and I did the decode that in my mind I have the evidence from a perspective of the decode that the C was Collins, and I can correlate it to a POTUS tweet, and I can correlate it to the watch on 2913 that later showed up in 3092.
Could the D have been Durham instead of D class?
It could be, but right before that line, he had D class be pre or after IG, and then he had Killbox Comey pre or after IG. So that's it could be another head fake as well. But the interesting part was that this time he put C in the kill box and not of coming and not anything else. So it could be Durham, but boy, that would be a ways down the line. And so that would imply Collins before Durham. And that would kind of, in a little bit of a way, rubs against the concept of coming soon with the kill box, right, of C. And that was on... let's see, that was queued up 3344, which is an addendum to the decode that I-70 saw or heard. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, I70, as much as heard it. But yeah, I was looking at and it goes back to that same stringer, the same Q drop 522. It's very interesting because that's when I was able to map to Mueller, believe it or not, to Mueller's day of resignation. And it's one thing to when you have, okay, let me ask you this. If you have one item match, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. I'm just using this as okay. If you have 1 out of the 6, what would you say is the likelihood of being correct? It's not a trick question. It's just, your gut feel. Would you say that it's more likely that it's wrong than correct?
No,
statistically, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have 2 out of the 6,
depending on the odds, of course.
Well, you got 6 to choose from. That's 6 to match. If you have 2 out of the 6, what would you think?
I still think
that's basically a 33 and a third% chance.
Right.
Almost.
If you have 4 out of the 6.
Yeah.
That's a 66 and 2/3% chance.
If you have 5, now let me cut to the chase. What if you have all 6?
I wouldn't bet against it.
You still there? Lost.
Who'd we lose?
We lose Tennessee.
Still up here in the Zoom there, but not sure if his.
He might have muted himself accidentally.
No, my mic, Zoom killed my mic for some reason. Sorry.
No problem.
I think it was an incompatibility between Discord and Zoom, because Discord was saying, you want to change your device? And I didn't answer, and all of a sudden knocked me off.
Weird. You stopped there at 6 out of 6.
Okay, so if I have 6 out of 6, I think I heard Captain say I wouldn't bet against you.
Right.
Okay, so I took the Julian date, the number, the day number since the start of the countdown, the Gregorian date, the day number since the end of the countdown, the number of dark days within consecutive block, and the cumulative dark days, and I got a match on every single one of them using QDrop 522, and the date that it points to is 5/29/2019, which is the day that Mueller resigned.
Boom.
Yeah, I'd say.
And okay, and the 71st day. Well, let me start it this way: the 71st day of since the end of the countdown is 7/1, right?
Mm-hmm.
7/1 is 8. The 92nd day since the start of the countdown is May 29th. 71st date is May 29th. The 92nd day is May 29th, right?
Right.
9. Okay. 9 and 2 are 11. When you then the 149th day of Julian date is 14. You look at those guys, you end up getting a hit on Mueller, because Mueller is 8 in the QMAP players. 14 is Comey, and the timestamp of 522 adds up to 99, and number 99 is James Baker.
It's all coming around, isn't it?
I kid you not. And going back to Jeremiah 29, which is on 522.
Yeah.
Jeremiah 29 day, calendar day. Okay, the 11. If you take 11 and you add 11 to the timestamp, which with the time of 522, QDrop 522. If you want to put it back up there, Coach, it's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
The timestamp is very unique. It should stick out like a sore thumb to you.
It should be up on the screen right there.
Unfortunately, not on QMAP. It doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. Because QMAP, I don't know why they do this. It drives me crazy, but QMAP uses a 12-hour clock. and it should be a 24-hour clock.
I can go to the Keybase up here. I just need to reset it.
Tennessee, would you do me a favor, please?
Yes, sir.
Send me the link. Send me the link to where you ordered your magic decoder ring. I want one.
Called vitalometry. I'm just kidding.
Hey, ESD. Yes, it's called vitalometry.
There he is.
A buddy of mine told me that he wants to follow Q here, and he's trying to learn the comms, but he needs a book or something. I'm like, well, we all kind of feel like that.
Yeah, that's the tough part now coming in at this point. And that's what, in many ways, that's what Canada Mike was talking about when he tries to red pill somebody. Now, the person may not need a red pill, because if he's asking, in a way, he's already been, let's say, at least pink pilled, right? That's where the Joe M videos come into play. And Roxy last Friday, as a matter of fact, she has a couple of, she did it on Friday and Saturday. She has, you can look at it in the archives. She went through her show taking one of the very early Joe M videos, which was effectively, loosely put, the one associated to how they try to mess with the election, what we would call Spygate, right? Generally speaking. And she went through and played the video, deconstructed the video, not from a decode perspective, but included the articles that Joe M brought out in that video, because it goes back to December 2018, I think it was, when he made that video. No, maybe it was earlier than that. But anyway, so she did that, and she used it as saying, okay, this is what from her recommendation, this is what you give somebody that's coming in and wants to know what's going on and how to understand, is to basically ground them into it. Now, there's a couple of Q books that have come out. Radix contributed to one that I think Dustin Nemos was one out there, right? There's a couple of others. There's also the Ultimate Q Decoder book that's out there, but man, that's a deep one. That's a tough one to get into too. But it's a tough one for me to say as to how to approach it, because there are different degrees. There's the starter degree, the 101, and then there's the, let's say, let's go from a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior level. The stuff that I'm showing here, it depends on which way you look at it, but it's junior, senior level, where it's mostly decoding the comms. The other level is understanding what they're trying to say with those comms.
Right.
Which is a little bit tougher. That, okay, so there's a couple of things we have to watch out for when we're looking at time decodes, and particularly delta decodes. You cannot use an aggregator that operates on Eastern Standard Time. We're not on Eastern Standard Time. We're on Eastern Daylight Time. If you do use an aggregator that uses Eastern Standard, then you have to add time to that, particularly in the hour, of course. I wish, personally speaking, they all went on GMT or UTC and let the reader translate, or through a cookie or something, detecting your location applies the proper timestamp. You notice that this one's using EST. If you go back to, and that's not really true. Look at 22, 33, 44. That's not EST. That's EDT. Right. So it's misleading because it's not applying daylight savings time. It is applying it, but not appropriately designating it as, so you have to be aware if you're doing that. So there you go. Does the time not stick out like a sore thumb?
Yeah, that definitely sticks out.
Okay, look at the one preceding 521.
Right. Yeah. 22.
They stick out. They're screaming, "Look at me!"
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
it's true.
Well, interestingly enough, 2911. This is where we started. Why I say it points to the May 29th, or it goes to Mueller. If you take 11, you add 22, you get 33. If you take 33 and you add 11, you get 44. And if you then turn around and look at 3344, where he says, "See," if you want to jump over there.
Which one, sorry?
3344.
Okay, I'm going to do that here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's easier.
3344. Boom.
Okay, look at the time on this guy. Just, you don't have to go there. Just say you add 12 to that.
Right. Yeah.
2011.
There's something off there, because I got 2211.
Well, this would be in mountain time probably, because it.
You're a mountain time. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ooh, you scared
I
me.
climbed the mountains.
Yeah, I forgot you're not on the east side. Okay, so it's 2211.
Right.
Okay, so
Unless you're in Arizona, then don't add an hour.
right, but it's 2211 Eastern, because everything's based not where you're at. It's based on Washington. Everything's Washington D.C. The swamp,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, 2211:35, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do the mirror of the Q drop. What do you get?
Right.
44.33.
Yeah.
Or rather, yeah, you get 44.33, right? Not 33.44.
Right.
Okay. Do the mirror of the time. Forget the seconds. You get 11.22. Right.
On this
so
one,
what is that? What do you get? 11, 22, 33, 44.
Right.
What was the Q drop we were just looking at that said Mueller?
Which one was it?
3344.
33.
The
44.
time was 22, 33, 44.
44. Yep.
And this one is 22, 11. The remainder of the code.
Right. Very interesting.
And these two go together because Comey coming soon. The interesting part is, this goes to a much larger portion of the decode that ties into the watches. But if you do the time of the Anon, add again, correspondingly is 2209.
Yeah.
When you add the digits of that time, it adds up to 15.
Right.
15 is 1 greater than 14.
Yes.
Okay. The two watches, 3092,
Right.
the time.
Right.
The time in 3092 and the timestamp of the Q drop, and in 2913, which is the underlying image, it reduces to 14 and 15.
Man, so many correlations.
15 and 14. Guess who number 14 is on QMAP?
Who?
Call me.
Yeah. See, just another correlation.
Yep. And I have the graphic with it, but I'm not going to share it.
Sounds like.
Don't forget the Collins connection too, TN.
What's that, Esty?
Don't forget the Collins connection too, Doug Collins.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what when we started. No, when you joined, we started with that one, not through the decode perspective that we did earlier. But yeah, the Collins connections is. Are you talking about him independently or the transcript drop?
Well, both. Yeah, both.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm joining late here. I'm on audio. Sorry.
No worries. Well, what ST is referring to is Doug Collins. Very interesting thing. Doug Collins is the ranking member of the House Judiciary and Nadler's worst nightmare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Doug Collins took office on January 3rd, 2017, not as a member of the House, but as the ranking member in the Judiciary. That was 17 days from POTUS's inauguration. He was sworn in on January 3rd. POTUS was sworn in on January 20th. That's a delta of 17. I'm not saying he's Q. It's a comms thing.
Right.
He was from the Georgia district of 27 in Georgia. He's from the 9th district in the federal. The delta between that is 18. Remember when I said Matthew 5:17 and Matthew 5:18?
Mm-hmm.
18 was the jot and the tittle, and 5:17 was the rule of law. May 17, May 18. Collins drops May 20th. The 522 was telling Collins, drop the transcripts. There are hot. If you look at them, there are 12 hots, but there's only 9. There are 9 pre-Ds. How many transcripts did Collins drop on his tweet?
I thought it was 12, wasn't it?
9.
Was it 9? Okay.
On his last tweet of the May 20th was 9.
Right.
There are 9 pre-Ds. There are 12 hots.
Right.
There are 9 pre-Ds.
Right. Okay. Now I'm seeing it here. And why did he throw in owls there? Do you know? What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's owls translates to and a numeric string that correlates to the dates. It translates to 15, 23, 12, and 19. It's not owls as the
right.
Yeah, what we think it is.
Right, makes sense.
And so that's why you have to take all of these things together. It's interesting because as you take those guys into consideration, you do the alpha to numeric translation coding wise, it goes back to that cipher. I mean, literally, if you look at the first stringer, the zebra, Baker, Victor, Tom, zebra, you see that at the very top?
Yep.
After the little P?
Yep.
Okay. That is 26, 222, 2026. That's what those letters represent.
Right.
When you add 226 was the 26th of February, was the date that Q2903 was dropped, which started the countdown. 20 was May 6th. May 20th was the day that Collins dropped. The 26th in mirror is the 62nd day after the end of the countdown. That's May 20th.
Hey, Tennessee, what happened to the clock?
The Q clock?
Yeah.
That's another angle to this thing. The Q clock is a way to correlate. It's an invention from within the chans, but it's a way to correlate across Q drops. Right?
Right.
What I'm discussing here is the cipher that Q is using. Q's not using the Q clock.
No. I was just curious if that was still going. I don't see it talked about much like it used to be. So that was just a quick question.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I misinterpreted. No, I misinterpreted. Well, what happens with the Q clock is the days of darkness, right? No, I don't do gematria. This is not gematria. This is just cipher. I mean, you could say gematria is a form of cipher, but it has a whole bunch of connotations related to interpreting and using phraseology and reducing phrases and stuff. And I don't do that at all. I just use pure mathematical cipher.
And Q told us what the cipher was, right, TN?
Yeah.
He laid it out at the very beginning, within the first 100 drops. He laid out, that's the cipher I'm going to be using from here on out. Yeah, so you're right. It's not necessarily gematria. I mean, it is technically can be used in that one particular cipher. It's, but all it is in general is just cipher. So you're correct on that.
Yeah.
Would you call it numerology too? Just basic numerology or no?
No, I wouldn't.
No, me neither. See, the problem with those two, they have a mystical connotation to them. And in my mind, and you guys, correct me if I'm misinterpreting that or not, or I have a misconception.
Yeah,
no, you're the numbers guy. You're the numbers guy. I default to you.
And that's why I when you can break something down mathematically, and the alpha to numeric or numeric to alpha is a single digit, or even there's nothing wrong with that, because that's you can do that. It's when you start interpreting phrases into numeric values and do the reduction of that, and then start correlating those values, then that's when you start getting a lot of interpretism come into play. I'm not saying that it's wrong. It's just not my style. That's all. That's not how I go about it. May I be missing some things? Oh yeah, no doubt. Cues communicate in multiple levels and multiple methods. Let's say layers of communications. But when I start seeing the watches, and I've been able to match the watches to coordinates on Earth that, okay, and I hate to say this way, but when I can take the hands of the watch, not the time, but the positions of the hands, and apply them to a compass, and overlay two sets of watches as to a compass to give me a set of coordinates that I can plot, and that points to Lynch Seamount off the coast of Bermuda. And when you take that, and it's right next to Congress Seamount, which is right next to it, and the Congress Seamount is two peaks. And when you draw a line between Lynch Seamount to the White House, it's the same vector, the same direction as the pen on the Q drop.
It's
On the
too
image.
many coincidences.
There's no way that's coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
And keep in mind too, TN, like we talked about this earlier, like how the percentage of what we actually know based on Q and based on the, the numerology and everything, the cipher codes. I mean, we're probably only looking at still like maybe 10%, right? Like at the most.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think you also said in your video earlier, TN, that they have the code books, they have the they have the translations available to them. They just have to operate, or they just have to execute them when they see their signs that they shouldn't be knowing. We're just trying to interpret this and reverse engineer, like you said before.
Exactly. And reverse engineering and Patriot reverse engineering is easy. And well, I don't mean to. Sorry, that's applying a value judgment. And what I meant by saying that it's easy is you have the reaction or their action as a method of correlating and backtracking and saying, yeah, okay, that points to the day that Mueller resigned. That was a significant event. That points to the day that Rod Rosenstein quit. That points to the day that Barr went to the Senate. Then you have your significant event that you can correlate to and backtrack and say, okay, now I can see the cipher. Going forward is a totally different animal. I may have the basis. Let's say this. What's the Alpendor cipher? What's that? It's a very common one. We use you pick a book or stupid from a movie's perspective. I think they did it in one of the what was that movie? National Treasure. I think they used that kind of concept on the back of the Declaration of Independence. Remember that? Okay.
Right.
And they used the Franklin letters. Okay, you can do that is one of the simplest and more difficult ciphers. Is you decide on a particular book, or in those cases were letters, but whatever, newspaper, a particular day, a particular book is the easiest one, and then you decide, and then you say, okay, I'm going to tell you with these set of numbers, I'm going to tell you the page number, the paragraph, the line, and the letter. So all I have to do
Odendorf.
Right. All I have to do is give you a series of numbers. You know the book. The person that's trying to decrypt it doesn't know the book.
Right.
They're going to see a series of numbers. and right, and that's it. And that's what Pineda is talking about, in the sense that they have the book, they know what to look for. We could only backtrack it once we figured out the event that took place.
That makes sense.
Good stuff.
Let me bring this up here again. Here.
I mean, it's basically, you know, taking a bunch of iterations, looking at all the differences, data reduction analysis,
and looking for patterns. Right. That's the main thing, is looking for patterns. That's where on the watches again is the patterns, the patterns of behavior. Why, for example, Q puts out there 2467. I think it's, let me make sure I'm not giving you the wrong number. Not that you need to go there, Coach. It's just
and classified material.
Sorry. Yeah, that sounded like Killary. You have 2647 and 2913 that have the same watch, different positions. The pen, different positions. No pad is closed. No pad is open. Then he uses the one in 2913 inside of 3092, but he crops the image, etc. Right?
Right.
Why does he do that? Why does he take the image in 3231 and insert it in 3232 when the only difference between the two is in 31 he's answering an anon with "ready, sir," who asks "ready, sir," or states rather "ready, sir," and on the other one he embeds the image from the actual Q drop without the anons. Why? And it's a rhetorical question here, and that's what drives me. And then I start looking for patterns. Like I was saying, the 22, 33, 44 was screaming at me. Mm-hmm. When I saw another Q drop that had the time was 022700, that was screaming at me. Why? Well, February 27th was the first day of the countdown. He dropped the Q drop on the 26th, but he said minus 21 within the next 21 days. That's what gives you the going forward and the going backwards, because if you start counting down from minus 21, it gets you to 0 on the 21st date if you start going forward. But when you get to the 0, right, if you're going forward and you get to 21, the natural next number is 22. But if you start from minus 21 and you get to 0, what's the next natural number? 1, then 2, then 3. You start ascending. But you're ascending at a different pace than the other one. So now you have 2 sets of numbers you can use to start communication. The third set of numbers, the third bank of number comes from the Julian date. And the fourth comes from the cumulative, at least in the way that I believe they're ciphering, it comes from the cumulative number of days that he's dark, that he doesn't drop.
Well, if I can share something here for a second, I think part of what some people feel out there in live chat, TN, is they've got to deal with this problem. I'll play this short little video. Just so people at home that aren't watching, this is a video that is describing Common Core on the left and regular math on the right.
I've got 3 10s, which is 30, and 5 1s, so that is 30 plus 5. 12 is 1 10 plus 2 1s. Okay, so that's step 1. The next step would be to draw a large box. Okay, and on this box, we're going to put both of our expanded numbers. So on the top, I'm going to put 30, plus 5. And on the side, I'm going to put 10 plus 2.
Unbelievable.
Where your plus signs are, I want you to draw lines through the middle.
Guy with the regular math making coffee.
And down it.
Yeah, is that part of the video?
We're still multiplying, so I'm going to put a big multiplication sign. Starting with our very first number on the top, we say 10 times this, 10 times that. The first one is 10 times 30. Sometimes it gets a little tricky.
I'm sorry? Yeah, the lady's
Common Core here.
Yeah, the lady's still working out this equation on the left, and the guy on the right is finished his math. He's gone to make coffee, and then he's still going here.
When we have those extra zeros on there when we're multiplying by a 10, so I like to say 1 times 3 is 3, and how many zeros do we have? We've got 2, so we attach them to the end of the number. So 10 times 30 is 300. We did 10 times this, 10 times that. 10 times 5 is 50, so it goes in the first box. And then we do 2. We go down to the 2 because we're done with the 10. 2 times this, 2 times that. So 2 times 30. 2 times 3 is 6. And between both of these numbers, I've only got the 1 0. So I attach it to the end. 2 times 30 is 60. 2 times this,
Okay.
2 times that. Now I'm going to do 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10.
Man, that's long.
Can you believe that is what kids have to deal with?
Yeah, what cracks me up is he's doing multiplication, using multiplication.
Yes, I know.
Multiplication.
Yeah. And the guy on the right doing regular math has time to make coffee, go walk his dog, come back.
That's why. Okay, I didn't catch it at the beginning from a perspective of the comparison, right? Because I did see the guy doing the math, but I thought he was taking notes.
No, he just did.
I've got 3 tens, which is 30,
yeah,
and 5 ones, so that is 30 plus 5. 12 is 1 10.
How did it ever go this other way, folks?
Okay, so that's step 1. The next step would be to draw a large box.
You're done. Unbelievable. Thought you guys.
And they wonder why the school systems are so dysfunctional.
Exactly.
Right?
Why can't
They always try to they always try to overcomplicate everything, man, in school, and it's teaching cultural diversity classes, and it's unbelievable. That's why I was a business major. I couldn't deal with all that other stuff. It's just common sense,
right? And it's the other thing that is, the intentional aspects of it was that you have. Let's say the conspiracy theorist in us comes on and says, well, why do they do this? Well, first of all, the guy on the right doing the traditional math would be the parent. The kids are being taught something the parents can't help them with.
Right.
And the kids can't ask the parents any questions. You got your separation from your parent.
Point. It's a very good point.
The second one is you got your teachers now being indoctrinated because this is the way they have to teach it. Therefore, they have to learn it. So what they learned in school, which was what the guy was taking notes on, making coffee, right? That's what they learned. They have to discard that.
Right.
And then you have the school system and the books and everything else that goes through it. So now you have an entire, not only indoctrination model for a new way of doing something that worked perfectly fine and got you nothing better, actually slower, obviously, but you separated the children from the parents and you instituted the requirement to follow these books, and you now are legalizing it or requiring it through law that if you don't teach it that way, you're fired.
Right.
There you
A
go.
Southern reporter out there, live chat, makes a good point. Kids got to be so majorly confused between the gender issue, teachers trying to convince them they're gay, then math, then the Disney and Netflix. They don't know who they are. No doubt. Right. It's all just really confusing these kids.
All by design.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correctamundo by design.
Cabal engineered social issues.
Yep. Here's another short video. Oh, whoops. 1 sec there. Sorry. Wanted to show you guys a quick little ditty. Where's that share button again?
Hey, we've got Deb65 in the room also.
Oh, hey, Deb. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Awesome.
Learning something.
All right. Can you see my screen, I70?
Yes, sir.
Oh, not the wipe with the cloth.
I thought this is just funny. This is so funny the way she answers. It'll play for me. Play.
She's got the right color on.
Or something? No. Well, no.
Sorry.
I did not send classified material, and I did not receive any material that was marked or designated classified. So that's all I can say. I'm not, I have no idea. That's
such a joke.
How easy this woman lies. It's just second nature. I bet you it's harder for her to tell the truth.
Send classified material, and I did not receive any material that was marked or designated classified. So that's all I can say. I'm not, I have no idea. That's why we turned it over.
You were the official in charge. Did you wipe the server?
What, like with a cloth or something? No. Well, no. I don't know how it works digitally at all. I'm not, I don't.
So wipe it with a cloth? Oh. Yeah, Rosie for Rivets out there, live chat. Psychopathic liar. Sociopath Tillman, we're 2-on.
You guys want to know why she's going to that conference? She's shopping for a new team to build some new stuff for her.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. Yeah, she's tried to hire some company or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like that last one didn't work out so well. They're starting to catch up to me. I better get the best of the best.
Yes. And this time, make it anti-Seth Rich, will you?
Oh man,
was that a low blow?
Good one, TN. No, that was definitely relevant. I would say like the easiest analogy I can use is like, oh, but officer, I thought the speed limit was 55 here.
Yeah, Bilbo.
Sorry, that was a Wendy's.
Bilbo Bot 2 out there says, I did not have relations with that server.
That's the winner.
Yeah, that's a good one. No, it was.
Well, you're kind of cutting in and out there, TN.
Sorry, good. I don't want to repeat that one.
Isn't it amazing times we're living in, folks? What's going to happen in the next 5, 6 months, 7 months? It's just going to be just amazing to see the outcomes of all this truth. Finally.
Well, Coach Clay, you saw that tweet I tagged you in about CNN that they're going to take 90 days now to pay their people, right? You saw that?
First they shut down the health division. Then they shut down their London location, I guess. So they're not even international anymore. And then now, you sent me on that tweet there about how many freelance.
Yeah, they're moving to pay their freelancers in 90 days now. Net 90. So what that means is that you guys better get ready for jobs next year, because all of us independent journalism have better be ready for next year. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of job openings.
CNN would be one job I would not take.
Well, it depends who owns them.
That's true.
Think of all the goodies.
The name just makes me feel.
That's true. Oh no, well, hey, rebrand instantaneous.
I want somebody to buy.
Yeah, come on. I want to get
all
TNN, right?
I want to, yeah, exactly. I want to get everyone together on Patriots Soapbox and all the other independent stations. We can all come together. We can buy CNN on a fraction, change the name to QNN, and yeah, I mean that would be huge.
Yep.
All own a piece of it. We the people.
That would be funny, huh? QNN. You don't know where we broadcast from. You don't know what we're saying, but trust us. we have the plan.
Crowdsourced Q News. You know, like that's where it's at now. You know.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, literally, what was it? Indy was when we were in at the Indiana meetup. That was his. He actually, I think he was one of the children that was there, and he kind of pointed to her. Nope, he didn't do a sleazy Uncle Joe thing. He just pointed to her and says that child right there with a phone, the video camera phone, can walk right outside her door and do a broadcast if there's an accident or something right outside the door. She can actually be the first hand before anybody else can get there and just shoot some video, and poof, there's your instant media, citizen journalism. That was an example, obviously, but it's true.
Yeah, no, it's true for sure.
I mean, if they go to some local event, what's the first thing that the media goes after? Well, twofold. They go after the official statement and eyewitnesses.
Right. Or fake.
Well, you heard the story about Vegas, right? All the cell phone footage and all the cell phones and all the laptop computers basically got wiped from Vegas. Did you hear about that?
Like
no.
The Vegas shooting night or afterwards when they got interviewed.
Anyone that submitted any evidence, when they got it back, their phones and everything were wiped.
Yeah, thank you, Drunk Pinata. Yep, right. 5 by 5.
Mm.
No, nothing to hide. Nothing to see here. Move along.
It must have been a glitch.
A glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah,
right, no doubt.
I mean, at one point, I could almost see why that would be necessary because, if it's going to be evidence, but, obviously they really haven't gone anywhere with that. So it seems to be more of a cover up. But I mean, I could see how potentially it could be needed.
Yeah. If the guy, the perp was not supposedly dead, meaning, right? I mean, I guess. But if the guy's supposedly dead, who they're gonna blame it on? But you're absolutely correct, Pinata. No correction at all to what you're saying. That was pretty bad.
Well, I'm gonna grab some dinner here. I just wanted to check in with everyone here. So you guys have a good rest of your show. Coach Clay, I70, good to see you guys. TN. Much love, man. And Drunk Pinata, Deb65, Captain Liberty, and YouTube chat. You guys have a great weekend. And this is SD Cali signing off. We'll see you guys later.
You as well, Cali. Bless you, my friend.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you, SD.
All right. You guys too. Much love. God bless. Yep, you got it. All right. Take care.
Diaz Kincaid out there in live chat says at TN Homesteader there was also the accidents of the group that was going to come out with their stories. Yes.
Yep. All those coincidental deaths of people that were there in Vegas that don't live in Vegas.
Right.
Including, wasn't that one what was that night? That bar where that guy came in.
Borderline Bar and Grill.
Yeah, thank you.
10,000 Oaks, California.
Well, were there a dozen people or something there that had been at the Las Vegas shooting?
It was a college night at that particular bar, and the majority of the people that were there it was a country night for a college. And a lot of people because Vegas was a country concert, a lot of people who went to that show went to that particular party again.
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure they weren't George Soros crisis actors.
No, I think that was one of the innocents controlling. There was a lot of correlation between that and the red line, or borderline versus red line at the time. A lot of those old Q posts dealing with red line.
Yep. Yeah, that was one of those. I mean, I can understand, because for those of you that may not be familiar, Thousand Oaks from Las Vegas is not that far. It's the Thousand Oaks is LA area. You can go across and hit Vegas in roughly 4 hours or so. Would not be uncommon, particularly to a major event like it was in Vegas. But how coincidental.
There's also a social phenomenon that I have found those times I've been out west. Unlike the East, where we're in more densely populated and packed urban areas and traffic can be more restrictive, I've known people out west that thought nothing about, driving another, a couple of 100 miles just to go see a concert or, somebody performing, even at a bar for that matter, that was somebody that they liked. So you don't have quite the same social dynamic in people traveling from one place to another if they are interested in a certain live music venue.
Mm-hmm.
I can concur. After living in California and Los Angeles for over a decade, that's pretty true. I mean, you'll drive 30, 40 miles where most people might in another town they'll just 10 miles is their norm. I mean, it's just kind of a normal thing, really. And because it's kind of so close where it's kind of drivable, you kind of just, throw the inconvenience of the time, but just for the sake that you can get there at least by car.
Right. In the LA basin, you have to time it right, but yep.
Well, more than once, a friend of mine and I drove from Santa Fe up to a little town called Española. This was back when there was nothing in Española except maybe a couple of restaurants and a string of gas stations and convenience stores. But there was this one absolutely great place called the Line Camp. They could handle about 1,500 to 1,600 people, standing room only. And I heard some really great bands there. And yet people would drive from, 150, 200 miles away if there was a good act going on at the Line Camp. And it was in the middle of nowhere.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, 2 hours went like that again. So
you're already at 2 hour mark?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's a good thing.
If you're tired, it is.
Yeah, and just to think, Clay played that Common Core video at 8:01.
Was it really that?
Oh, gentlemen, I'm going to bail out and leave you with this thought. A girlfriend of mine recently dropped her Twitter account, and I asked her why, and she said, "Well, it made me keep looking over my shoulder." I said, "Why would you have been doing that?" She said, "Well, I felt like there were people following me."
Interesting.
Well said.
You guys have a great night, okay? And thank you. God bless all of you. God bless your live chat. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Captain Liberty. You too.
Yeah.
Here.
Thank you very much for joining the show. Anybody else want to say the last words?
Last words.
Last words for our show tonight on Friday.
Say good night, Gracie. Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
There you go.
TN.
Yes, ma'am.
TN, I want to just thank you for your decodes, and it's just fascinating to watch. And just thank y'all for letting me be on. And I do have a question for you, TN, on the FISA-gate poster.
Yes.
What is your take? You know, watching that poster or looking at that poster, it just, the background, it kind of reminds me of like an explosion, like a boom. I don't know if anybody gets that same sense or not.
Yeah, by the coloring and kind of like the orange-ish type of halo type of approach.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that does bring down because it kind of looks like the top of a mushroom. If you look at behind, if you can visualize a nuclear mushroom or a Moab mushroom, right?
Right.
You could see that behind Trader 44's head. So yeah,
right.
I can definitely see that.
Okay, and one more thing, guys, before I go. I know it's short, but just ask everybody out in live chat, and if you're a prayer warrior, or even if you're not a prayer warrior, POTUS is going to be leaving this weekend for a week to the UK. So just keep him in prayers. Make sure you just pray for his safety and those that are protecting them. And on that note, I'll go ahead and say good night.
Good night, Deb.
Joining us. All righty, Drunken Pinata, you're up.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I'm going to maybe message with Clay over the weekend. Maybe we'll try to figure out if we can work something out for next week. I think I might have another good set of information for you guys. Other than that, everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you all next week.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks for joining the show there, Drunken Pinata.
I'd like to take a minute to thank Sosha321 for doing our pre-screening.
Yeah, let's give her the applause there, folks. Sosha321, thank you so much. Great job out there. Live chat, everyone in live chat, thank you so much. Being on our show and contributing all your good insights and laughter and jokes and making fun of me and a bad camera and all that other jazz.
We'll see you Monday night, live chat. It is now all Chris.
Chris is in the house.
How are you doing?
Very good, Chris. How are you?
Awesome. Yeah, I missed Wednesday. I had to be gone, but I'm sure glad to be back. And it's good to hear you guys talking and doing your show and all the great callers and everything. It's pretty cool.
Well, I'm sure everyone in live chat is happy to see you back here on Friday evening.
Maybe not. So, yeah, interesting things happening today. Got some things to talk about, so it'd be very interesting.
Awesome.
See what feedback is on that.
Well,
what was your take? Oh, okay, I was just going to ask you real quick, what was your take on what happened today, the shooter thing?
More false flags, if you ask me.
Yeah.
They are expending their ammunition as they are at the point where they do not know when or where another truth bomb is going to come down on them, if for lack of a better term, in my opinion. So I think we're be vigilant out there, people. Keep your head on a swivel, because there's a lot of things that are going to be going on in the next couple of weeks to a month or so to kind of delay or to distract people from what really is coming out. My opinion.
Yep, I agree. Things are getting hot for them, so they've got to have a big distraction. They'll see all kinds of antics. Unfortunately, citizens will be harmed in some of this stuff, which is very unfortunate.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, I guess I can take it from here, and I'll say goodnight to you, I70, and Coach Clay. Thanks so much for handing it over to me. You guys always do it so smoothly.
All righty. You have a good afternoon or evening, I guess, where you're at.
Oh, yeah, it's evening. And if you have anything to throw in on the show, feel free to hop in and give a holler.
Yeah, we'll listen. Take care.
Okay, you too. Good night. Have a great weekend, guys. Hey, everybody. How's it going out there? You have a good week?